Well, it's time for my 2 cents, and it's time to take a stand. Let me ask you a question. Are you a person who accepts things the way they are, or do you stand up and let your voice be heard? What takes place many times is when change begins to happen, people who disagree will just remain quiet and hope that the voices of opposition will just go away. What is taking place right now in our country and in the world for that matter is a threat to our freedom and our democracy and our God given rights. Many of us may be tempted to stay quiet and let someone else carry the torch. Not this time. This is a time like no other that I have ever seen in my short time on earth. When people are told their opinions and beliefs no longer matter, it's time to stand. When you are accused of being a criminal because you choose to stand up for your family or your children, it's time to stand. When you are threatened because your beliefs are contrary to the socialism that is being shoved down our throats, it's time to stand. Personally, I am proud to be an American. I am thankful for the freedom that so many have died for so that we can live a peaceful and prosperous life. We've reached a serious time in our history, and it is time that all of the things that we hold dear and the beliefs that are sacred to us as a family and as a community will be taken from us if we allow it. These times that we now live in require us to make decisions. We can no longer stick our heads in the sand and hope that someone else will fight our battles for us. We cannot sit behind a screen and let our voices be silent. That is why we are in this condition now, I believe. We let others speak for us, we let others train our children. Sitting back and hoping for the best will no longer work. President Ronald Reagan said this: freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same, or one day we will spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was once like in the United States when men were free. Let me ask you a question. I'm going to put a picture up here. When was the last time that you stood beside your child and said the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag? When or have you ever taught your children how to fold the flag and how important it was to respect it? Not because of the cloth or the color of it, not because it looks so amazing, but because of what it stands for. We must teach our children and grandchildren these things. We must teach them to love and respect others and to love and respect themselves. We must teach them that all men were created equal and that our right to be free was given to us by God, not by man. What makes America great and strong is the people of our nation, those who choose to stand on the principle of our Constitution, those who believe so strongly in our freedom that they gladly and honorably lay down their lives for me and you to live free. I see people losing their jobs, careers, and livelihood to stand for what they believe in. Then they are mocked and looked down on for standing for freedom, freedom to make their own choice about anything. It is freedom that allows us to live where we want to live, worship where we want to worship, work at what we want to do. You know, I was raised and taught to love this land of freedom, to respect our country, to respect our history, as ugly as it is. That is why, from all over the world, people desire to come here and live in our America because there is no limit to what you can be or what you can achieve. It disturbs me that many of our leaders want us to go backwards, giving up our rights and freedoms to be dictated to by one man or one group or another. Dictatorship has no place in a land of freedom where people are allowed to disagree. Debate is good, conversation is healthy. However, dictatorship is communism. It is now, and it always has been. It has no place in our free America. While those who cherish freedom have been living and enjoying life, those who desire to destroy our sacred way of life have been planning and training and educating our youth with the poison of socialism. It is time that we as parents and grandparents Leaders and educators start teaching our youth about respect for our country and our flag, and to teach them the Constitution by which our freedoms are protected. If you don't believe that we have failed our children, take a few minutes and ask the young people in your life some questions about the Constitution. Ask them about the American flag, how it should be treated and respected. Ask them about the branches of our government. The things that you and I were taught in school are not taught the same way in many of our educational systems today. And worse than that, many parents have not talked to their children about protecting our freedom and our God given rights as Americans. It's time that we no longer sit back and think that it will all work out in the end. It's time to stand. It's time to stand for what you know is right and honorable. For the entire history of our country, order has been kept by having laws to guide us, and breaking these laws have had consequences. Laws for many years have been respected, enforced, and used to maintain order in our society. We have used law enforcement officers to ensure that these laws were adhered to, and if broken, they were sworn to enforce and arrest those who choose to break them. In the past, the law enforcement officers were confident that when a person was brought before our courts, if the evidence was present, the accused would be convicted and punishment would be dealt fairly and swiftly. Today, the blindfold seems to be removed from Lady Justice, and the scales seem to not be working in the equal and just way. When punishment is dealt out differently to people based on their political or religious views or based on the color of their skin, it is not justice. I strongly believe that man is created equal and should be treated equal in life, in business, and in justice. I want to talk to you about something that might hit a nerve. It's called gender identity and also the lies behind it. You know, it amazes me that animals, being inferior to humans, realize and understand the roles in which they were created better than the superior human being. The ridiculous offer of pronouns to explain how a person is identified has spread throughout our society. If you have filled out an application for a doctor or dentist office, or to an educational institution in some cases, maybe even for a job, you have discovered that there are several choices for you to choose from now. These applications for many years have read like this: sex, male or female. You just circle or check the one that applies. They now read something like this: who do you identify as? Male, female, they, here, them, or other. The reason these applications have changed is because being called male or female offends those who identify as something else. In our school systems today, your children will be asked what gender they prefer. This is called PGP, personal gender pronouns. This is supposed to set a tone of respect for those who believe they are neither male or female. The question will be things like, tell us your name, where are you from, and what pronouns you prefer. You know, if you believe in God or if you believe in biology, then you must stand up for what is true. Not your truth or their truth, but the truth. A person can be born as male or female, and in some cases, like 1 out of 100, intersex. This is biology. Biology is not asking a child what they prefer to be identified as, which encourages confusion and adds stress to teens who already face difficulty as they go through puberty and into adulthood. There is no limit how far progressives will go to weaken and destroy our society with disrespecting females' femininity and tearing down males' masculinity. This ideology is used to tear down the family unit and bring about a society of socialistic values. It is well documented that gender identity and socialist ideology are intertwined. I see these beliefs of the far left to be used to further separate people into groups, which is counterproductive to uniting our country. A house or a country divided against itself cannot stand. That is the goal of socialist and communist ideology. Stand up for what you believe. Take a knee to no man, only our Creator. Now, you may be asking what all of this has to do with struggle, grow, succeed. Well, as a country was being founded, our country, it went through a massive struggle to obtain our freedom. After becoming stronger through our struggles, we were able to grow as a nation and a people. This growth enabled us to succeed and become the strongest nation on earth. We are now going through another struggle in this country. We must press on through this struggle and win. This will enable us to grow again, to grow stronger as a people, as a nation. And it will enable us to cherish our freedom. It is through this growth that we will one day bring about success to our country once again. Now, I know you may not agree with some of the things that I said. I welcome you to drop your comment in there. And that's the wonderful thing about America. We all have the right to believe and stand for what we feel like is right. Now, that is my 2 cents.